huge Bills trade update from Sports Illustrated. Are the Bills and Brandon Beane going to make a move for a wide receiver one for Josh Allen that the Bills fans have been clamoring for quite a long time? And this one could be massive. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bills Digest. Josh Schreiber here, and today I'm going to be talking about one trade that the Bills have been rumored to make that we have not talked about yet on this channel. Before we talk about it, though, a whopping 89% of you guys watching this video right now are not subscribed, so go ahead and tap that subscribe button on your screen, nice and easy. It helps us a lot, and we will be able to give you plenty of Bills updates, including some trade rumors that have us excited here at Bills Digest. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. As we see here, the Bills could invest heavily into Josh Allen with a trade for a $92 million wide receiver. Who is that wide receiver? Well, it is none other than Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley signed a big-time deal with the Tennessee Titans, pairing him with Cam Ward, the #1 overall pick in this past year's draft, and it has been disappointing, at least to start this season. He was in Tennessee last year as well on his first year of the deal with Will Levis, a team that was really throwing the rock on practically every down. They were always losing in games, and Calvin Ridley absolutely ate in that offense. He led the league in air yards and posted another 1,000-yard season, something that we've seen him do a number of times in his career. But things have not gone according to plan this year. The Titans have been absolutely abysmal passing the ball. The offensive line has been bad. Cam Ward has struggled. And Calvin Ridley, who is a phenomenal deep threat, has not been able to fully utilize his skill set in Nashville. So that has people wondering, including Owen Klein for Sports Illustrated, is it time for Calvin Ridley to be traded? Well, recent reports have said that Diana Rossini of ESPN reported that Chris Olave is not likely to be traded, and A.J. Brown, the Eagles are not even listening on A.J. Brown calls, which has led people to wonder who are the receivers that may get traded. And I think Calvin Ridley, his name is on the top of that list. Now, Owen Klein of Sports Illustrated had this to say in his article. Ridley still hasn't been able to realize the air yards he has gotten. He led the league in air yards in 2025, and with Cam Ward's horrendous blocking, he hasn't gotten that opportunity to catch as many deep balls as he has been schemed up for. And last season, they were able to get the ball to him a little bit more frequently, and it led to a phenomenal season. Here are his numbers from this season, and really the past seasons was what we're looking at here, but he has really done a phenomenal job racking up lots of targets, so he's getting open, and lots of yards. 3 1,000-yard seasons this year, and although he is looking like he may not hit that number this year, he certainly can achieve that number, and you can only imagine what he could bring to a team like the Buffalo Bills. You see those long receptions that he's able to bring in. He has 4 seasons of 7+ touchdowns on the year, and for those of you that don't know, Calvin Ridley was suspended for a full year in 2022 for violating the league's gambling policies. He came back for the Jaguars and posted a phenomenal year for them, although it was kind of touted as a disappointment. Really, you look at the numbers, and he did a phenomenal job for that Jacksonville Jaguars offense, and then has been consistent with the Titans as well. So still something that you feel pretty good about what he can bring to a team, and you see a little bit more of those stats. He's already got 290 yards through 6 games. He's got 35 targets, 16 receptions, and he averages 18 yards per reception, a really impressive number. And that number longest rush, that's actually longest reception of 47 yards. So you bring Ridley in, and despite him being disappointing this season, or at least that's the narrative around him this year, his 290 yards would lead all Buffalo Bills, including Dalton Kincaid, who is their leading receiver with 287 yards. And Ridley has played one fewer game. He has played just 6 games, and that is something that we can have cause for concern because of this that came out recently. He has not played, or he did not practice all of last week with a hamstring injury. He did not practice even in a limited capacity and missed the Patriots game this past week. But due to the Bills, they had the bye week this past week. Now they have another full week. Even if you don't have Ridley for this next week against the Panthers, you can get him healthy and accustomed to the playbook going into Chiefs week in about 12, 14 days from now. So that will be huge if they can get him healthy. So obviously this hamstring injury is something that is a bit cause for concern, but maybe you can get him at a cheaper price, because as an elite wideout, he obviously, you would think, would bring in a heavier price with the draft picks you'd have to give up, the potential players you'd have to give up. But I'm going to kind of push back on that sentiment, because we see here, this is his contract. He has a massive deal right now. 4 years, $92 million is what he signed with the Tennessee Titans. And his cap hit the next 2 seasons would be $26 and $27 million. Although there is a potential out after this season that would cause $16 million in dead cap. Now, that is something the Bills would have to manage. They would have to figure out a way around that dead cap, but they have always done a really good job of that. But you can say, well, is it wise for them to really pay heavily for a receiver who is towards the end of his prime? There's no doubt about it. He is in his age 31 season. By the time he is a free agent, he will be 34. Is it worth it to trade for a guy like that? But need I remind you guys, this is a team that is in win now mode. They have to go all in. They have to bring in the weapons. And what Calvin Ridley can do on an offense like the Buffalo Bills is likely something we have not seen in his career, really since the year he absolutely went off with Matt Ryan. Really, Matt Ryan more in his prime with the Atlanta Falcons. And we can look at the advanced numbers as well to see what Calvin Ridley brings to a team. Here are his stats from last season with Will Levis, which was more of an NFL offense. First in air yards in the entire NFL. So guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, those types of elite deep threats, they are still coming in behind Calvin Ridley. And the average distance of targets, 15.7 yards. Those explosive plays are what the Bills need in a receiver. It's something that Keon Coleman has not been successful with. And Calvin Ridley, I think, could really be a good mentor for Coleman as that ex-receiver. So there is another option from that same offense, and it is none other than Tyler Lockett, who was just released today, and he will be eligible to sign with the team on a very, very cheap deal starting 4 p.m. on Wednesday, as you see there in the Adam Schefter tweet. This is a guy that, honestly, I would be shocked if the Bills don't call about. This is kind of the type of guy that matches the Amari Cooper stature of a guy towards the end of his career, a veteran receiver who has done it all in the league, multiple 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And I honestly think this is probably way more likely than Calvin Ridley being signed, or really Calvin Ridley being traded for. But nonetheless, this is a guy that can separate. He can get open on big third down moves, kind of like what Cole Beasley brought to the table in the earlier Josh Allen years. So I would not be surprised if Tyler Lockett is a guy the Bills bring in. I think it would be a good move. Probably not one that is going to be the sexy move, not one that Bills fans are going to be like, this is our guy. We are now all in on the Super Bowl, but certainly a good threat if they want to really attack the defensive side of the football in the trade deadline. So this was the moral of the story. Calvin Ridley is going to be available, I think, for a very low price if the Titans are willing to move off of that contract, which honestly I think they should be. I wouldn't be surprised if they choose to trade Calvin Ridley, and if he only calls for a 4th or 5th round pick. The Bills and Brandon Beane will be interested. It's just a matter of, will they be willing to pull the trigger? Thank you guys for another episode of Bills Digest. I'm Josh Schreiber, excited to bring you some more content coming into Carolina Panthers week. Let's go, Bills. Bills Mafia, rise up, hit that subscribe button. Let me know who you want the Bills to trade for.